Okay, so I'm going to walk through a few problems that are potentially out of your homework. I picked the algorithmic ones, so hopefully the numbers are definitely different, but at least it kind of helps you to understand kind of some of these computations. So this first one, we have Justin is a waiter, and in his first weekly pay period, he earned $300 for his hours, and then he reported $500 of tips to his employers or to his employer. So the employer is going to withhold the tax on the tips and his income. So when we go down here to calculate these taxes, it's going to be the $300 he earned plus the $500 in tips. Now, remember, as a waiter, he already has those tips. The employers don't hold them and then remit them later. The employees get them right when their tips are given. So he's already got the $500. What he doesn't have is the $300. So you want to remember that first and foremost. So then his gross pay is going to be $800. So those two added together. Then we're going to say, okay, he is married filing jointly, and this is weekly. So we're going to click here to access those tables. Which are not opening up. Let's see, is it just a timing thing? Let's see if I can refresh it. Yes. Okay. So there it is. All right. So then this is, so notice you always got to pay attention to your headers. I'm going to make it bigger. So here it is, married filing jointly weekly. So that's what we want. Now we want to find the $800 though. So if I go down, I gotta scroll over to this side because again, it's like a two columned page. So go back up. So if the adjusted wages are $800, it's going to be in this category here. So then his standard withholding for federal income tax is going to be $24. So then $24 is what I'm going to put back on the homework. Let me see if that pops me back over there. Close this. So $24. Okay. So that's going to go into this box. And then we're going to take the $800, so 800, and multiply it by Social Security taxes, so 0.062 or 6.2%. It's going to be $49.60. We're going to take the $800, multiply it by 0.0145, and that's $11.60 for HI or Medicare. And then it tells us the state income tax is 1%. So 800 times 0.01 gives us $8. So now if I pop those in, let's go down. So then you can see they're all there. So the $24 we looked up, these are the numbers that we calculated. Again, taking the 800 times the 0.062 for our OASDI, and then the 1.45% for the Medicare or the HI, and then 1% for the state. And then remember, so the gross, though, even though what we're looking up, I apologize. So I should have clarified that. The taxable amount we're looking up is the 800. So the 500 plus the 300. What he's getting paid for is just the 300. So that's what we're going to subtract it from. So then his net pay is going to be all of those taxes on the $800 coming from that $300 check that the employer owes him, and he already has the $500 in his accounts for the tips. Okay, I'm gonna hide it at least to start. Okay, so then they come down here, and I'm not going to do all of them for the sake of time. I'll do a couple of them. So they want us to calculate the federal income tax using the percentage method and then using the wage bracket method. So for this first one, A. Lennon is married filing jointly and makes $675 a week. So if I go into our percentage table methods, okay, here it is. So we're married filing jointly and it's weekly. So always pay attention to your headers to make sure you're in the right one. So this is weekly, married filing jointly. That person is in the second category. me pop back over there. $675. So not that one, right? Let me close that one down. Okay, so the $675. So they're going to be in that second line item. So let me see if I click it, if it makes it a little bit bigger so we can see it. It does. Okay, so they're right here in this second line. So between the 562 and the 1008. So then it's going to just be 10% of the amount that needs to be withheld, right? So let's flip back over there. So they're not like at any threshold. No, that's not true. So it's going to be 10%. Of the amount that the adjusted wages exceeds the 562. Okay, so it's zero. All right, so it's $0 except for the amount by which it exceeds the 562 is going to be at 10%. So then flip back here. So it's 675. The amount by which it exceeds the 562 is going to be $113. So then $113 times that 10%, the federal income tax is going to be $11.30 in that first one. So I guess maybe I'll just pop it open and show it, because then we'll go in there. So $11.30. Then we'll go to the wage bracket. So again, remember the 675 married filing jointly. So again, it's weekly, married filing jointly, and 675. So we go down and we get down to the bottom. Now we're at that threshold where we're crossing. So it's either going to be $11 or $12. So let's go back and see. They want us to pick the $12. So if they're right at that threshold, pick the higher number, and that is going to be the amount withheld. Then we'll do the next. We'll jump down to this McNeil. So McNeil is single and biweekly, because it'll take us to different tables. So I'm going to close those. Okay, and then we'll go back. So McNeil, $1,775 biweekly. So if we go to the percentage method, and we pay attention again to our headers though, so we don't want weekly, we want biweekly, and we are single. So let's see if I can make that part bigger. Okay, so I guess I gotta go down. All right, so there's biweekly, and we go down to single, and then again we say they are $1,775. So they're going to fall into this third category. So then that is going to be $44.60 plus the amount by which it exceeds $1,008, and then we're going to multiply that by 12. So his was 1,775, the amount by which it exceeds 1,008. So 1,775 minus 1,008 gives us $767, and then that we're going to multiply by 0.12. So that is $92.04. And then we're going to add that though to the $44.60. So then in total, it's $136.64. So again, I'm just kind of expressing that mathematically. It's the $44.60 plus 12% of the amount by which the gross pay is over $1,008. So we'll come back there. Why did they get? No, yeah, there it is right there. So $136.64. So that's what we computed. Now we'll go over to the wage bracket, and we'll find 1,775 biweekly and single. Okay, so we will click on this and see if we go down, if it'll take us, or do I have to find each one individually? Okay, maybe that's not the case. All right, let's go down. So we want to find the biweekly one. There's biweekly. And then it's 1,775. So I have to go over to the other side to get to that amount. So 1,175, again, it's going to cross over those two. Let's go back up to our heading. So we are single, so we got to keep going. So single is those very last ones. And now I've lost what row I was on. Okay, so 1,775. So that is going to be the 138. So right there. It's kind of a pain when you lose the heading, but so 138, let's circle back. And that is our total there. So again, it's nice when maybe you got two screens and you can pull those tax tables up on one screen and then look it up on the other, or just write it on paper. Again, it's harder to do it when I'm trying to keep it all on the one screen. All right, so I'll just do those two. You would do all of them that exact same way though. Find the right table, find the right column, and then trace that over. Okay, and then this one again, we won't do all of them. We'll just do a couple. And these ones are paid weekly, and this one has us do all of the taxes though. So if we've got regular earnings of 3,310, if we take the 3,310, multiply that by the 0.062, oh, in this case, so let's see, there must be something more to it, right? Let me go up. We are at their 51st pay. So then this is a good one though to do. So John, if he's been paid 50 times already, so 50 times $3,310, he is up to $165,500 in gross wages. So then this is his 51st pay and he's making $3,310. He is up to the limit. So let's see if they give us the limit up in the problem. Again, we're in 2024. So let's see if they give us I think it's 168,600. So 168,600 is the 2024 limit for Social Security. So if he was at, again, I took his salary amount times the 50 weeks he's already been paid. He was at 165,500. So then subtract 168,600. $3,100 of his wages are subject to Social Security tax. So if we take 3,100 times 0.062, that gives us $192.20. Now the whole amount, the 3,310 times the 0.105, that is 47.995, round that to $48. All of his wages are subject to Medicare. Then his federal income tax, again, we'll go look up married filing jointly at 3,310. Did I click on the wrong one? Let's see. All right, so here is weekly married filing jointly. 3,310. right, so he is over that. And is there no separate page? No, I think I just got to go down. Hold on, let me close that. And that's monthly. So he is out of those tables. So if they're out of the tables, do we go back to, let's see here. Do we go back to the percentage method tables? Let's see if we get that. If we get the, oh, I probably can look down below. Hold on. Yeah, you must use the percentage method because he's outside of those tables. So if he was in the tables again, we would just look him up like we were trying to do. But he's making more than those tables. So then we have to go here. So then our percentage method is married filing jointly, right? Married filing jointly and weekly. So we are in the weekly, we're in married filing jointly. He is in this category here. So $208.64 plus the amount by which his pay, $3,310, exceeds $2,375, and then we're going to multiply that by 0.22. So $3,310 minus $2,375 leaves us $935 times 0.22, and that is $205.70. So then don't forget though, we add that back to the $208.64 that they give us right there in the table. And then that total is $414.34. So that's how they came up with that. And then our state, it looks like, is 2% of, yeah, so state income tax is 2% of the total earnings. City income tax is 1.5%, so 3,310 times 0.015 gives us 49.65. Subtract all of those to get to the net pay. So he's the hardest one because, again, he reached his Social Security limit and his wages were outside of the wage bracket method. So if we get outside of that, we have to go into that percentage method to calculate it. Okay, then this one will be our last one, but it is things that get to be deducted out of our income tax, our wages subject to income tax. So we have duly made $930, only Social Security, which is fully taxable, and her federal income tax attached to her pay. So we're not worried about like state or local. She contributes $100 each week into her 401k and puts $40 into her health savings account each week, and her employer matches the $40 a week. So then the non-qualified part though, so let's go down here and see. The non-qualified is okay, yeah. So I'm thinking the non-qualified means that she still has to pay tax on that. Like maybe it's not part of a cafeteria plan. Let's assume that that is the case. It's still going to come out of her pay, but because they tell us it's non-qualified, I don't think we reduce her gross pay by that $40. But we will reduce her gross pay by the $100. So that's what I'm going to start with. If I'm wrong, we'll circle back. So the 930 less the amount she puts into her 401k, that's going to be $830 is her federal taxable wages. And then she is single, and this is weekly, right? So single and weekly. So click on that. So we're in weekly, and we are looking for $830. So we'll go down, and then we'll go over. Okay, so 830, she's in this first row here in the second box, and then we'll go over to single, so that would be 61. So let's see if that's right. If it's not right, it is. It's correct. So be careful of that wording, because when I went through the PowerPoint, health savings accounts can be deducted so you don't pay federal income tax, but they have to be part of the cafeteria plan. So the fact that this one says non-qualified means it's not. But the 401k is still deducted. Her Social Security is going to be on the whole 930. So 930 times 0.062 gives us a $56.66. Medicare is also fully taxable, so 930 times 0.0145, and that's the $13.49. And then we already know that those deductions are going to come out, so we would subtract those to get to her net pay. Okay, so I think we covered all of the kind of hot topics in there and just how to use the tables, the wage bracket table, and then the percentage method. So hopefully that will help you prepare for your homework for this chapter.